Good Sunday morning. This is how I look before I get in front of a camera or when I first wake up. Because when I usually first wake up, I don't worry about my hair until I go to work. But since you guys are watching, I'll just let you, this is my normal grooming, you know. But it is Sunday morning and I slept in because, well, I guess my body needed to sleep. That, in fact, I did stay up until almost 1 o'clock in the morning folding clothes. But my normal routine in the morning when I wake up is every person needs to go to the bathroom first thing in the morning because, they've been sleeping all day and their bladder didn't wake them up in the middle of the night. Yep, I'm going to have to put that in a pair of rubber bands before I go to work. But that's my morning routine. Get up, use the facilities, get myself a cup of coffee, sit down, read my comments, and then I come in here and do this. So I don't do anything else to make myself look whatever. I'm not faking it. I'm not sorry. Goodness gracious, did I lose it? I never had it to begin with, so my chapstick went MIA. Oh, there it is, behind my water bottle. Woke up this morning, it was kind of cold. Granted, I did set the thermostat down to 66. I don't think I'm going to do that again. I think I'm going to leave it at 68 for nighttime and 70 for the daytime. And then when Jerry gets back, who knows what we're going to set it at, because she's the one that's always complaining that it's hot. Or not hot, but cold. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I think that's part of her the problems that she's having. Watermelon flavor. Oh, that's nice. Burt's Bees. And of course, Lisa's used to warm temperatures, being from Texas. They do get some cold, chilly weather. Don't get me wrong. Houston is probably about the same line, or what do they call those? Latitude, longitude, about the same. The only difference between Texas and Arizona is Texas is more humid because of the Gulf Coast weather. Especially when you're in Houston, Houston. Dallas is a little bit different. It's not as close to the water, but it does still get its humidity. While Phoenix got no humidity. It was, unless it was monsoon season and the humidity was so low that you didn't even know it was humid outside. You just kind of went, oh, yeah, okay, we're getting weather. But I did say I was going to do some Bible stuff today. Unfortunately, no. Combination of I got busy with other stuff and did not read anything last night, and I kind of blame myself for a lot of that stuff, because sometimes when I come home and I just want to relax, I either play one of the many different games like solitaire. I got like a paint by number thing on my tablet. I get caught up in that. I keep on saying to myself, I need to, read instead of play games to go to sleep. Two reasons why. I noticed when I read at night and fall asleep to reading, I tend to learn more. I tend to absorb more. So it was kind of like, maybe that's what I should be doing instead of playing around on my tablet. I should be reading more. Because if I read, I can usually go, okay, I can feel the tiredness coming on. Let's read to a certain point, and mark that point and go to sleep. But I haven't done that in a while. I don't know if it's for me, reading is like one of those things where if Jerry's next to me and she's got one of her movies on or she's watching something and I can hear it, it disturbs my reading ability. I have on occasion on the past when I didn't want to listen to whatever she was listening to so I can fall asleep, asked her to put her earbuds in or her headband, which basically has speakers in it, Bluetooth speakers, which is like it's a combination of a headband and put it over your eyes so you don't see lights or anything like that. I never could understand that. I tried it once and I went, no, something over my eyes unless it's a wet washcloth because I need the moisture around my eyes, or my eyes are really, really dry and I need the wet washcloth to keep them moist. I can never understand anything else over my eyes. I'm having issues just wearing glasses and going, okay, where's the right level of, where do I put this? Oh, sorry, must have been a hair or something stuck on my glasses. And then one of the other things I got to get used to when I get my actual prescription is keeping them clean, because I have a hard time doing that. Sometimes I don't grab by the, like now how I'm grabbing it now. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I actually just grab the eyeglasses and end up putting a smear or something like that on my lenses. Oh, that's a whole much better, man. So much better when they're clean. But yesterday was great. Gotten a lot of good comments about yesterday's video. I did wake up and notice one particular commenter, which was something I do not allow on my phone, on my comments, and that's not people. That's advertisement for porn or some garbage like that. And I'm like, nope, don't need that. Don't need it. Don't want it. It don't need to be within my parameters. I think that's one of the things that's been a stressor in the past. Is I wander, my eyes wander, and I get overly curious. That's just the nature of me. And I've decided that my curiosity needs to be focused on my histories. My stuff. I've gotten rid of all that stuff. I'm no longer single. I'm married. I will say I'm happy, even though there are times. Well, every marriage is like this. Y'all have times when you're married where both people are just like, go away, just leave me alone for a while. Jay and I have had a lot of that in the beginning. We still have it every so often because it's just kind of like I'm not in a frame of mind. I'm not in the mood. I'm just want to be left alone. I've had a bad day and I just want to get over it. Sometimes she wants me to talk about it and I'm like, that's not my way of getting over it. Let me relax for a little bit and then maybe we can touch on that subject or that problem and see if we can figure out what went wrong and how to prevent it from happening again, since it's a work issue. Which I don't have that many of those anymore. I'm finally at a job, even though I've been there for almost a month. I'm finally at a job that I feel comfortable in, I feel happy with. I know it sounds like a repeat of my last job that, for the first couple months to a year I was good. And then because of changes that were made without, me realizing what was going on and couldn't do nothing about. And finally I snapped and went, nope, I'm done. But at least I was smart enough to have a job waiting in the wings, So it's kind of like, yeah. I walked out of a bad situation into a good situation. That's just the way I want it to be sometimes, I mean, I know it's bad in the long run that I'm, walking out of one job and going into another job, and But the good thing about it is at least I'm not, spending months at a time looking for a new job. I got lucky or fated or however you want to put it. But life has been pretty good lately. I mean, yes, we're working out some situations with the house and cleaning up the house and getting it organized and purging stuff and finally doing what I've been wanting to do for the last year and a half is cleaning up stuff. I know this room right now doesn't look like it because a lot of this room has to find places to be stored. I'm actually hopefully in the process of trying to clean out my my outside storage room so I can put some of the stuff in there, even though I'm thinking that some of the stuff, because of what it's made out of, needs to be wrapped in plastic or something like that so the critters don't get to it. I would love to say I just want to take the van and finally convert it into the camper type situation that we want to deal with and put all the stuff in there because that's where it belongs. But then it's like, okay, well, if we do that, we can't have passengers. We can get stuff at Walmart and whatnot and put groceries in the back end, but having the middle row up might be the problem. But I'm looking at a lot of stuff. I'm looking at a lot of ideas. I personally would rather go straight to an RV, but Jay says it would be better to do it this way to see if we like doing it, even though it's what a lot of people online call stealth camping, because you're using your personal vehicle, whether it's a minivan or some people have done it in cars as small as a Prius. Is basically turn their van or their personal vehicle into an RV. But like I said, a lot of their designs, except for one or two that I've seen, leaves very little storage, little room for other people. So it's one of those things that's like, One idea that I've seen, there's actually a gentleman in Canada, I think he lives in, who literally takes people's personal vehicles and turn them into RVs to their desired, ability. And I was like, I wonder how much that would cost me if I could get up to where he, is, or wherever he works, unless he travels, and say, can you take this van and make it into an RV with some of the equipment we already have, And I'll really tell him I want to be able to adjust the mattress or the bed into a back seat and then use the middle row as its regular seating from Stone Go. I've seen him actually take out the Stone Go seating for the very back end to turn it into storage and whatnot. There's a lot of things I've been thinking about, and I've been watching and going, I wonder if I can do that. How much would it how much effort, let alone maybe cost in the long run, would it take me to do that? One person has basically their back end of their RV. They took out the rear Stone Go for storage, and that's where all their stuff is. And they have maybe one or two cheap drawer systems from Walmart stacked up along the back of the front seats for clothing and food stuff and just necessities. And granted, a lot of these people are single; they're not a couple. So it's kind of like, I don't know. One guy actually did a whole elaborate cabinet system along the one side. The whole one side of the driver's side is cabinetry that he installed, and it's basically being held in place by zip ties and gravity. Most of these ideas have never, they never drilled into the actual vehicle's interior. They just design it in such a way and stack it in such a way and use zip ties to keep it in places. And the one guy I'm talking about who did like cabinetry on one side, he has this overhead arch with enough room between the wood and the ceiling where he can store stuff. Like he can put long stuff up there. And then on the other side, of the passenger side, not blocking the door, but just blocking the windows, he has some more cabinets. And his bed, he built a platform bed and had long drawers, like long plastic drawers underneath the bed for storage. You know, so it's kind of like, interesting. So I've seen a lot of different ideas and different, everything from just simple, cheap plastic drawers and whatnot set up just right with the rear rear area where the seats store, the stow and go seats in the back end removed, so they have like this storage area. And they can just lift up the mattress or whatever they have. So it's like, okay, I see the cheap version, I see the high-end version. Everything, either done professionally or done by people who just came up with ideas of how to do it. But I'm hoping with some of the ideas that I've seen, some of the merchandise I've seen for inexpensive, that maybe in the spring we can go van camping. It really depends, because there's a lot of things up in the air right now. But I don't know why I'm on that subject. My brain is just there. But yeah, I didn't do any reading last night, which, I'm upset about it. Probably just about as much as you're not happy about it. I gotta quit telling people what I'm gonna do. I just gotta roll with the flow. Unless it's my job. And then I have to kind of communicate with my coworkers and my manager. And oh man, that's right. That's why I was so busy over the last couple of days. So the first of the month, all the retirees and Social Security checks went out, and government, the government checks to the different people that collect SSI. Some people don't get it until the end of the month. Some people get it at the beginning of the month. I think my mom gets she gets the retirement money from my father. My father's career in the Air Force. She still gets it until the day she dies. So she knock on wood that it's not too soon. But she gets my father's retirement fund at the beginning of the month, and towards the end of the month, she gets her retirement fund, her SSI for all the years of her work. So she gets 2 checks, and I don't know how much it is. I just know it's helpful for her. Because now, I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm not trying to get her to leave. I want her to stay as long as she wants. I'd like to have her just stay, with us the rest of her life, so we're there for her, when things get really difficult for her because of her health and memory and whatnot. But she has more than enough money that she can easily move out and go wherever she wants to. But I think for the benefit of all parties, she's trying to stay. She's willing to stay. I think what it is, as long as she's happy to a certain point, she'll stay. But if things get to the point where she gets too unhappy, that's when I'll worry about that when it happens. I mean, I know her reasons for staying. I know my reasons for, looking after her and trying to give her happiness and her space and things that she needs or wants. course, at our age, I mean, all of us in this house, we're at that age where it's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't want anything anymore. It's more like what I need. Now, I know some of the Christmas gifts that Jerry got me, because we talked about it. And yes, I know I'm getting a couple video games, but the way things have been lately, I've been like, I get tired of playing. You know, Saturday I rested all day, and I ended up playing, I don't know, 4 hours straight on World of Warcraft, and I am, let's just put it this way, I'm getting to the point where it's like, I'm getting tired of playing games. I've got too much stuff that I should be focusing on. The thing is, this time of year, this room is either freezing cold or broiling hot. It depends on how much sunshine hits those windows and how much heat is coming through that vent. Because I know at nighttime this room can get very chilly. I mean, bone chilly. And I don't want to be in here. Now, I could be in my room reading stuff or whatnot, but sometimes it's difficult to do that because of, I need a certain amount of peace and quiet, or a certain amount of I don't know how to explain it. I just need it at a certain, I need things at a certain way for me to be able to read and concentrate on what I'm reading on. And a lot of times, if Jerry's watching her shows or whatnot off of one of her devices, I think the last time that happened, I ended up putting my earbuds in just to, you know, put on some white noise or background noise that I can handle, that won't, like sounds of nature, basically, that won't disturb me. Might put me to sleep, but it won't disturb me. And read that way. Which maybe that's what I should be doing. Should be reading while Jerry's gone. And then when Jerry comes home, just put my earbuds in and listen to, you know, like nature sounds or rainstorms, thunderstorms with rain, something like that has no music. I love how people want to, like, oh yeah, this is soothing sounds of nature, and then you hear a violin or a cello or some musical instrument in the background. And I'm like, if I wanted to listen to something with musical instrument, you know, I would put something on with musical instruments. I want to listen to the sounds of nature and nature alone. No flute, no musical instrument, you know, in the background. Of course, this past last year, St. Patrick's Day, I had to download it on I think I downloaded it off of Amazon Prime, but I had downloaded 3 hours worth of the Scottish bagpipe. It wasn't just bagpipes. It was Scottish marching band, and right there in the front ground is those bagpipes, while in the background was like drums or band music, band instruments of some sort, flute, not flutes, trumpets and whatnot. And it was a military marching band, and I forgot the name of them. But I downloaded 3 hours worth of that, and on St. Patrick's Day, I mean, I was playing that the whole day, basically. And I'm surprised I didn't get in trouble at my old job for it, because usually we're not supposed to be playing music of our own out loud. And if you do play music, you have to be in the back of the house instead of out there serving the students. But my school, what is now known as S&T, which was originally the School of Miners, it was also, most of the people who were working or built the college, the original college, were from either Scotland or Ireland, because they were known for their mining skills. So they couldn't fault me. They couldn't fault me for playing that music on St. Paddy's Day. Now, any other day, yeah, people would get mad, but I had no problem. Nobody got mad at me. They were like, oh, he's just showing his Scottish pride. Yes, I was. I think that's one of my downfalls. I've got, now that I know most of my ancestral history, I've got Scots, Irish, Norse, Dane, Swede, German, Brit, or not Brit, but Wales, even though it is considered part of Britain, it's Wales. You know, and I'm like, well, if you look at the history of these people were known for a lot of different skills, but I mean, the Irish are known for their consumption of alcohol. The Scottish are known for being just stubborn, pig-headed people. So are the Irish. But I'm looking at all these different nationalities that makes up my DNA, and I'm like, no wonder I am the way I am. I'm stubborn. I'm pig-headed. Like to get. I mean, I don't really like confrontations, but if confrontation comes to me, I don't back down. I don't back out. My biggest joke was, yeah, I'm made up of people who what they're known for is drinking and getting into fights. Yeah. I know they're known for more than that, but it's just like that's the joke I have. You know, that's my joke for myself. Yes, I do like my mead. Not a beer fan. I have had scotch. Not a big fan of scotch. It's kind of like, oh, God, take your breath away. Ooh. You know, I like my wines from Germany. I like my German wines, especially from the Mosel Valley area. Beers, I think the one beer that was smooth enough for me to actually consume and drink the whole thing and not just drink a little bit and go, nope, that's enough for me. Don't like it. Is Lowenbrau. That's a German beer. A lot of people say Heineken, and I'm like, no, that's not really. That's more American than European. But Lowenbrau. You know, it's a. I like the seasonal beers because the seasonal beers are made for certain purposes. I mean, the lighter beers are just for your everyday. Okay, it's summertime. We're going to have a light colored beer. Then when you get into fall, it's more of an amber or darker color, and then when you get into winter, it's almost like coffee black. You know, it's a really, really dark beer. And the reasons why is the content within the beers helps you adjust. This is legit. It literally helps you adjust for the seasons. And the darker beers are basically, they're not to really get you drunk unless you're not used to it. They're there to basically help keep you warm without the, overall put you on your tail end and drink too much type deal. But unlike Americans, most Europeans get to start drinking at a younger age. I think the youngest I've ever heard in Europe was 15 or 16. That's about the same time Americans learn how to drive. American children or American kids can start getting their license to drive. But unlike Americans, Europeans know that if they're going to go to the pub, they're going to need somebody to drive. or they're walking home. And that's one of the nice things about Europe is there's a lot of bars, a lot of pubs, as they call them, within walking distance of your house. Or they have taxi services waiting for you. Like they'll have a line of taxis outside the bars, and you come stumbling out, and they're like, "Okay, where are you going?" Help you into the cab, help you out of the house, let the missus help you in, then the missus gets to take care of you. And that's when a lot of the guys are like, "Oh man, I need to go back to the pub." Not saying that there women out there are hardcore, but a lot of the reasons why the guys go to the pub in the first place is because the missus is causing them problems, or it's just like a social gathering. The missus is with you anyhow, so both of you get to stumble in the house and fall on your face once you get through the door or whatever. But this is the time of year where I start looking at like holidays are upon us. American style alcohol is more of a suppressant than just a neutral. It's like a regular beverage in Europe. Unless you get the holiday liquor or beer or whatnot, then that's totally different. Europeans are not known for their stupidity when it comes to being drunk. They either go home and pass out because they know they've hit their limit, or they have people who are ready to, all right, you've had enough, let's go home. Yeah, there are some hardcore drinkers in Europe, but the thing is, a lot of their drink, a lot of the drinks you hear about during the holidays, like Oktoberfest, those are specifically brewed for Oktoberfest. So they're brewed so you don't get like stupid drunk, you get a happy buzz, because they don't want you to leave the festivities and get in an accident or do something wrong. Like here in America, we don't have control. Bars don't have that. Okay, you're done. Some of them do, but not all of them. Some of them are more like, oh, you're going to pay more money for more alcohol, and okay, sure, just don't throw up on the floor. In Europe, they're like, you had your limit, you're done. Or it's like, okay, he's still walking straight, but he's happy drunk. We consume in excessive amounts of anything just because. We're trying to drown our sorrows, we're trying to drown our, we're eating or drinking for emotional purposes, or, something along those lines. And it's one of the many reasons why I would love to go back to Europe and stay. Because they're good people. They take care of each other, they take care of their homes. We as Americans should be looking at them for examples of how we should be towards not only each other, but just as a whole. I remember growing up in Germany and walking around on my weekends, just walking around the town to see what's going on and seeing how clean and how organized everything was, and just how friendly the people were. I mean, not just to the American strange kid walking around the neighborhood, but to everybody else. I mean, to each other. And it was like, culture shock. Going to Europe from Little Rock, Arkansas, culture shock. The biggest culture shock, though, was coming back to America and going, what happened to this country? 3 years difference in the country, that I left ain't the same as when I got back. Now, I knew there was going to be changes. Everybody knows that, any length of time is going to cause changes, but just to see that my country, instead of being uphill, being better than it was, coming back on, it got worse. kind of, it was like, I want to go back home. Because I felt more at home in Germany than I did here in the States. I'll be honest with you, there's only a few places here in America that I feel like it's home besides the house I live in. I mean, I would do a lot just to get back to living in like places like be a permanent resident, permanent employee at Yellowstone National Park with Jerry. Um, there's a lot of things here in this country that I I'm not happy with how we just think we can do whatever we want just because this is the land of the free and the brave. But I'm sorry, I'm like my dad. There ain't nothing free anymore. I mean, this country has gotten to the point where stepping out of your own home to water or to not water to feed the wildlife that happens to be next, running around in the field next to me could cost me money. Not because I'm buying stuff for buying specifically for them, but just, oh, you're throwing out food to the wildlife? Well, we're going to tax you for that. That's the way it feels sometimes. It's just like, it reminds me of Popeye. Popeye with Robin Williams, where, you had the tax collector and anything you did was a tax. That's what America has become like. Like everything is taxed. But the thing is, the taxes don't always go back to the people. Like in Europe. Yes, Europe has a lot of taxes. I mean, it seems ridiculous because they do have taxes on just about everything. But the thing is, if you look around the country, you realize that most of the money that you pay for taxes goes back into your community, goes back into your country or your region. Because unlike here in America, I can drive around this town and I can see how many roads in this town need repair or need to be redone because it's got so many potholes or ditches or it just, the roads aren't. Put it this way: you want to try testing out your shocks on your car? Come to Rolla. I'll drive you through a certain part of Rolla that that's what it feels like. And I'm like, my money for Missouri or for Rolla, the taxes alone for Rolla, the housing taxes and things that are based in Rolla, could be going back to repairing those roads instead of building or whatever they're doing around the college. It seems like if the college wants something done to build up the college or fix up the college or whatever, it gets done. But when it comes to our everyday roads through some of our neighborhoods, it's like they could care less. And I'm like, how is it the college has more control over what happens in Rolla than the actual people who live here who need their roads repaired because damage to their tires, damage to their shocks, damage to the undercarriage of your vehicle? And I'm like, this is nuts. Yet you go to Germany. I use Germany a lot because I was there for 3 years. You go to Germany and everything is just idealistically perfect. It's almost like trying to think of the TV show that I watched when I was younger. Any old school TV show, Leave It to Beaver, things like that. Everything seemed to be looking pristine and perfect and whatnot, and everything was fixed and beautiful and clean. And I know it's a TV show, but it's just an example. I mean, people sit there and go, oh yeah, I'd love to go see, I would love to go see a place somewhere in the world, maybe, any place in Europe that seems to be like out of a fantasy or fairy tale. Germany is one of the best places. You want to see something that's realistic, that's in a fantasy world? Go to Neuschwanstein near Munich, Germany. Neuschwanstein was the castle that Walt Disney used to create his iconic Disney World. That big old castle you see at Disney World in Florida. That is a real castle in Germany called Neuschwanstein. That's real life, but it's also so picturesque that it's almost like a fantasy. Okay. I'm getting the tingles. Sorry. I'm excited about Germany. I'm excited about these things, but I get these like weird tingles when I talk about these certain things. But yeah, I mean, I've seen several different parts of Germany. I never got to see Neuschwanstein. I never got to see it in person. I only seen it in pictures and videos and whatnot. I don't know why. We could have easily drove. It could have been easily a weekend trip, where we could have driven from where we were in Germany to Munich, stayed at a guest house in Munich, seen Neuschwanstein and a few other places, and then probably head back. Or if Dad had a good 3-day weekend, we could spend at least a whole day in Munich, spend 2 nights there in Munich at a guest house, and then gone back home on the 3rd day. But it never happened. There was always something going on that Dad had to be involved in. Dad somehow became a representative for our airbase. Basically, what his job was, when he needed to be done, when it needed to be done, was to drive to Frankfurt or wherever a new military family was getting stationed in Germany, especially at Hahn Air Base. He would go up there, pick them up at the airport, and drive them back down, get their family all set up and situated and a place to stay for a little while until they got into base housing. He did that on a couple times, and there were twice I got to go because, like, hey, it's a family, you know, it would be great to have a military child with him to say, hey, yeah, I've been here for a while, it's great, you get to learn this and that, and you get to meet the people, you know, get a child view of what they're going to have to deal with, especially if you're living off base, which we did twice. We did 2 different years. But Dad got lucky because of what happened, which I'll tell you a different day because we're already at 40 some odd minutes. So, but anyhow, I'm gonna learn how to talk again. Shoot, I gotta get off this and do dinner, lunch, whatever you want to call it. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. If you're not a member of my my channel and you want to hear more, first thing you have to do or need to do, it's your choice. I use the wrong words. If you choose to join my channel, you can hit the subscribe button, and once you do that, a little bell will pop up, and you click on that bell, and YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. So you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.